As we all know, coronavirus pandemic is the unwanted and unwelcome guest that has showed up in our life. And it is affecting every part of human lives, from public health to economy to education to environment. Indeed, this outbreak has also negatively impacted our social life and psychological health in many ways. Actually, it has been noticed that there is a staggering increase in loneliness feelings as this pandemic has made it harder to be face-to-face with our families, friends, colleagues, or just any other everyday connections we used to have. Generally, loneliness is a state of mind or emotion of pain which is linked to distressing experiences that occur when one's social relationships are perceived to be less in quantity and especially in quality than desired. So loneliness is mainly an internal emotion and it has little to do with the external state of affairs. Because you can feel lonely even if you are surrounded by tons of other people. Hence, we can say that being alone doesn't always go hand in hand with feeling lonely. Indeed, loneliness is mostly about the absence of intimacy with other people, whether at the physical level or in terms of shared values. Loneliness can take different forms in our life. These are the two most common types of loneliness. First, we have the contextual loneliness. For instance, this type of loneliness is what many of us are experiencing now during these times of coronavirus pandemic. The unusual isolation, social recession, and the lack of meaningful face-to-face or physical connections trigger feelings of loneliness. Since our human nature always craves physical closeness and intimacy with our families, friends, or peers. The contextual loneliness is generally experienced as a result of an exceptional or unique change in circumstances. But the problem is that if not well or wisely managed, this situational loneliness might generate in the long run the second type, which is called the chronic loneliness. In fact, chronic loneliness occurs when feeling lonely or being uncomfortably isolated from others is experienced on a daily basis and regardless of external circumstances. It is also characterized by constant and enduring inability to connect on a deep level with others. Even worse, chronic loneliness is closely linked to feelings of poor self-esteem and self-loathing, which certainly hurt our psychological and mental health. Next to the external circumstances, such as the lockdown during this current outbreak, there are many other deep-rooted causes of loneliness, including psychological trauma. As you may know, trauma causes overwhelming amounts of stress, helplessness, fear, and anxiety that might prevent people from having deep and healthy social interactions. For example, sexual or physical abuse or domestic violence that unfortunately some children still experience might cause them to develop a lasting mistrust and fear of people in the future. Social anxiety or social phobia, owing to the fact that the persistent fear of being watched or judged by others makes it hard to maintain significant and close social connections and relationships. Lack of assertiveness. Assertiveness refers to the confident and forceful behavior which pushes us to respectfully ask for what we want and say no to what we don't want. It is considered as an essential pillar of building honest and intimate relationships, so the lack of it makes it easier for loneliness feelings to dwell. Self-loathing or self-hatred. Feelings of inadequacy, guilt, and low self-esteem lead people to constantly compare themselves to others by focusing on the negative side and ignoring the positive side. In truth, self-loathing keeps back from loving and forging authentic relationships with other people. So, why should we try as possible as we can to avoid being or feeling lonely? Well, the answer is because loneliness might cause in the long run some major physical and mental health problems such as Alzheimer's disease progression, decreased memory, cardiovascular disease, increased stress levels, depression, and even in some cases, loneliness can push to commit suicide. As I already mentioned, nowadays most of us are more prone to feel lonely and isolated due to the coronavirus pandemic. This is why, if you are lonely, especially under these actual circumstances, you need to find some practical strategies that suit you in order to alleviate this painful feeling. For instance, planning some indoor fun activities, avoid comparing yourself to others, especially via social media tools, learning something new, volunteering if it is possible, chatting on the phone or video calling can help you feel less lonely. And besides that, always remember, life is worth living no matter the challenges and problems you encounter. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.